Mayday! We're going down! Ha-ha! Jetpack, engage! Mega Man X. What's up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? My name's Seth, and today we're going to be taking a first look at Planet Centauri, or should I call this Terraria 2, or Starbound, or I don't know. But this game is actually fantastic. If you're a fan of Terraria, if you're a fan of Starbound, you're going to love this game because it's actually very, very similar playstyle to those games while having a whole bunch of unique aspects to it that make it stand out as more than just a clone. You know, which is very, very neat. So we've actually got this starting crystal right here. It's kind of like the tutorial dude, and we're going to talk about some of the more unique aspects of this game that it has over Terraria and Starbound and stuff as we progress a little bit further. I'm just a little bit worried about this slime right here. My goodness. By the way, the controls start a little bit weird on this game. Maybe they'll have that ironed out when the game is finally released. Welcome, young Earthling. You arrived despite yourself in a very dark period of this planet's history. You probably have a lot of questions, but it will have to wait, because it is essential for both of us that I teach you how to survive in this hostile environment. So we, of course, immediately right here, a questing system, which is fantastic. That is one thing that I think was actually missing from Terraria and Starbound, although Starbound is still being developed and everything like that, and it's actually been a long time since I played it. Either way, I'm just trying to make a point. Pick up the pickaxe and the axe located in the chest. All right, I'll accept that. Using tools will be absolutely necessary to gather resources. Of course, we haven't seen that coming a million zillion times. You will need to learn how to craft items that will help you survive. Pick up the pickaxe and the axe in the chest in front of you. My goodness, it's trying to tell us drag and drop and all of that stuff. This image, these images in general, I find to be a little bit confusing. And although, like, it says G right here, I've actually changed my key to end up being something else. And it doesn't seem to update in real time. Same with my interaction key is actually F, not R. But I'm just making a point. I'm not trying to say that it's like a bad thing or anything. Bloop. Pickaxe and an axe. Quest done. Okay. Thank you very much. Now I will talk to you and get resources to the pickaxe. Gather 4 coal blocks. Okay. Now equip the pickaxe and look for 4 coal blocks by digging into the ground. You can easily find some on the surface of this planet, which of course is right here, and it has a nice little picture narration of it, which is very, very cool. Something that this game does differently than Terraria and Starbound is, as you can see right here, of course, it has the auto digging similarly to Terraria, where you can turn it on and off. But one of the things that it does have is, you notice that we pick up the ore before we destroy the block, which seemed cool to me at first, but in all honesty, it gets very tedious when you're trying to actually dig underground, because essentially it's making it so that you have to destroy a block twice if it ends up having ore in it. So yeah, anyway, quest validation, we are done. Resources with the axe, gather 8 wood. Now equip the axe and chop down some trees. Okay. I always love chopping down trees in these games. Trees always seem to fall to the right in this game, though. Doesn't seem to matter which side you're actually on, but I do love the fact that the trees actually fall over, which is fantastic. That was one of my favorite features when Starbound ended up actually having it. And of course, similarly to Starbound, you backpedal slower, so you kind of want to face the direction that you're trying to run, especially if you're fighting enemies and stuff. Quest validation, okay! Now we're getting into the crafting. Oh my goodness, craft a wooden sword and equip it in the main slot. Also craft a torch. Okay. Use the gathered wood and coal to create a sword and a torch. These will allow you to see more clearly and defend yourself. To create the sword and the torch, press the O key, open the crafting window, blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much. Boom, done next. So we just open the crafting menu, and you can actually see all the things that are available to craft based on if you found the resources for it. So you can see right here, we know that this resource right here is going to be a different type of arrow where it requires an arrow, which we know how to craft wooden arrows. That's why it's showing it here. And I'm guessing this is going to be like steel, tin, or iron or something like that. And then once we end up actually getting our first steel bar, it's going to show us what this actually is and what we're going to be able to craft. So glowing wooden stick, does that count as a torch? I don't think so, because these are torches, right? You can also just left click or right click, and it'll just go and give you like a million zillion of them, which we're not really gonna do right now. We're gonna put it into our weapon slot right here, which means that our right click is actually always going to be what's in the weapon slot. And this I found a little bit confusing at first anyway. Now that we've actually got this quest completed, we grab these items and drop them into our inventory before we can actually continue. And if you ever end up getting stuck at a quest, you can always click the question mark to actually see like an in-game image prompt of what the quest ended up actually wanting you to do. Or you can click on the crystal picture and it'll just repeat exactly what the crystal guy ended up saying, which is very, very handy because on some of the quests, it will be like, you have to craft this. And he'll tell you what's required to craft it while it doesn't necessarily say it in the quest log, which I find a little bit strange. Your inventory too, by the way, I do want to say is extremely, like you have so much inventory space, you're really barely ever going to need to worry about spacing. I don't know if that's because it's an early build or if eventually you're going to have backpacks that would kind of upgrade. I think that could end up being cool. And it's actually got an auto sorting system, which we can't really show as well right here other than, yeah. So you could actually set it so that it kind of splits items into different categories. So let's actually see if it does anything with all these. Yeah, so we can actually set up 2 different types of categories, right? And then of course, if we end up clicking this, it's just gonna throw all the items together. It's very, very handy, very intuitive. I very much love the fact that you don't have to spend 5 years organizing your inventory. Chest management is not good in this game because you can't shift click an item into a chest. But as I said before, you have so much inventory space on your person that you're barely ever gonna really want to use chests outside of just making it a little less complicated for yourself. However, you'll definitely end up running into the issue where, oh, I need a certain crafting item that I'm going to have to get out of my chest because it doesn't have as intuitive a chest system as Terraria does, at least not yet. Build an advanced crafting table. Okay, build an advanced crafting table. It will allow you to craft advanced new items like furniture, necessary tools to forge weapons and armor. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much. I'm not trying to make fun of him by saying all that blah, blah, blah. Let's just plop it down right here. There we go. Now we can interact with it. What did he want us to do? Oh, nothing. Let's just grab the wood right there. He's probably going to tell us to build a house now, right? Yes. Building. Build a shelter. Place the crafting table on the ground. Build a door and place it. What? Congratulations, you will now need a shelter to protect yourself from the hostile creatures and to be able to use the crafting table without being bothered. You can choose to build your shelter with any material, dirt, wood, stone, and many other things. Side note, you don't want to build your house out of dirt because otherwise zombies will actually come out of the ground and attack you, which is not cool. Many other things. To build a shelter, these prerequisites are required. 4 walls forming a closed area, it means a box, a background wall covering the entire shelter surface, and a door. Now, I think when it says the entire shelter surface, it means similarly to Terraria, and of course a lighting source, where we would actually have to place this background block here in the line of these other blocks right here. So we have to have like the whole background taken up in order for it to actually count. Now, similarly to Starbound, this game actually has a very nice system where, well, let's see if we can even get it going right here. It's gonna take a little bit because this pickaxe kind of sucks. But it's got similarly to Starbound, where you can actually just use one type of block for the foreground and the background, rather than having to, swap between crafting a foreground and background block over and over, which is, kind of Terraria old school. Like, it's very, very nice that we can actually do it. And one thing that I actually love about this game over Terraria and even Starbound is the fact that you can actually place blocks as fast as your character walks. So you can just and you can just create the ground, and that's it. You don't even gotta worry about anything. So you can even just drag and click without any problems or running into any issues. It's fantastic. Like, seriously, I absolutely love it. That's that fast right clicking I was talking about. I love the fact that you can just run as fast as you want when placing down like housing blocks and stuff like that. It is so helpful because otherwise, as you all know, anybody who's played Terraria and stuff, planting down house blocks can end up being a little bit tedious. Of course, it's going to cost a lot to end up setting up the background blocks for us right here. It might look like I'm not actually doing anything. I was just placing underneath these blocks right here. But yeah, you can just do this like so quickly without any problems that it just goes by like so quickly. Of course, you end up using like your blocks like right away, yes. And we're gonna need to chop down a couple more trees, but generally it's not very difficult to end up getting your hands on the resources in order to actually make a house, because you end up getting quite a bit of wood from chopping down all of the trees. That can actually convert into a lot of, like, as you can see right there, I mean, we just got like so much more of the wood, like seriously, it's crazy. And you can actually just go absolutely bonkers with the mouse, and it doesn't really you don't really run into that many problems. Now, when you actually have, like, we're equipped to the crafting table right here. If we left click, not right click, we can plant it on the ground. However, it doesn't show a preview of the item unless you end up having it selected in your mouse hand. So I would love to see that as a feature where you could end up hovering over it in your hotbar and it would actually like show the item and where it's going to be placed on the ground, similarly to Terraria and stuff like that. I think would be fantastic. I don't think we can craft a door without the raw wood. Yeah. So we're gonna have to go over here. Sorry, it's getting a little bit dark in the game, everybody. Not really anything we can do about that. Oh, goodness gracious, the slime is coming. No, please do not destroy me. There actually is a hotkey for swapping your from building in the front or the back, but that's okay. No. Come on. There you go. All right, there. Oh, geez, that was close. And you can just click without worrying about anything, and it's actually just planting them right on the background, which is great. I do gotta say, by the way, let's get ourselves another door as well so that we can cover the other side. Bloop, bloop, oops. Still getting used to all the hotkeys and stuff like that. But this game is fantastic, man. Like, seriously, it's a slow start. I would definitely say it's a very slow start. But once you end up going into the game a little bit further, I wish you could shift click these out. That would be a little bit handier. Or just have a collect all button. Now it actually gave us a bunch of tin ore, which is great. But as you end up progressing further, and hopefully we're going to be able to run into these features so that I can show you rather than just talking about them, where it's got some crazy different features once we end up getting a little further down the list, like skills, ruins, magic, and stuff like that. And well, hopefully we'll have time to get to those. Use the advanced crafting table to build a furnace, create 3 tin bars, build a tin anvil, craft your first tin armor set. As well as, and we're gonna get a reward of more tin armor and a copper sword. You can now take shelter safely. Use this opportunity to craft your first armor piece. Use the advanced crafting table to build a furnace that will allow you to melt ore, blah, blah, blah. Transform 12 tin ore that you just got into 3 tin bars. Use the furnace again to build an anvil with the 3 tin bars, and then you can finally craft your first armor piece. Put the anvil on the ground to use it. Same as any of the other games, like seriously. Push the limits, explore, get more ore, get more different things that you can end up just crafting all sorts of, you all know, everybody. Like, this game is just like, you all know. So let's actually get ourselves the anvil here. There we go. Thankfully, it actually just removes the stupid little flower that we got. And now we can actually craft ourselves different types of picks, different armors. And one of the things that I want to show you that's a little bit important right here is right here. These are actually 3 of the exact same pickaxe, but just costing different resources to make it. So rather than like things like Terraria and stuff like that, where not until the late game you'll end up constructing a new pick out of an older pick, or a new weapon out of using and combining different weapons. For example, right here, it's actually a very intuitive, very great system where we could end up getting ourselves a copper pickaxe, and then you don't have to worry about throwing that pickaxe in the trash, because you can actually recycle the copper pickaxe with tin or this other ore to end up making the next level. And I just think that that's fantastic. It ends up working with all of the things from the first tier and onward. And you can see right here, we actually only go down up to, I think this is bronze, before we end up going a little bit further. What are we supposed to do? Craft your first armor piece. So they want us to gather a little bit of resources here. Am I on automatic mode? I don't want to be. Good. It's also very nice and very handy to point out here that so long as the ore is actually, maybe that's why they did the whole thing with the ore being mined first and then the block second, is because as we mine it down there, the ore is actually jumping through all of the blocks and coming towards us, which is kind of handy, I guess so. Anyways, oh, great. Yeah. The combat is very, very cool. The enemies animate very, very well. I actually really, really like the zombie enemies in particular. They're so cool. As you saw right there, we actually ended up gaining a little bit of experience, which is another thing that I love about this game, because you actually level up your character, but we'll probably end up, I think that's actually the next quest is actually telling us about different skills, so we'll end up gaining into that. One thing I do want to say in passing is I would actually love to end up starting a full Let's Play series of this game, just because I actually really like this game, but for the time being, I don't really have the time for it. But of course, if everybody like really, really wants this to be like a Let's Play series or something like that, let me know with comments in the comment section down below. And of course, I'll figure out some way to make that happen, even if it doesn't end up coming out that commonly. So I'm just gonna end up getting the rest of this tin ore right here. And then hopefully that will be enough that we can end up crafting whatever, like the next piece of armor that we need to craft. As you end up continuing further too, by the way, just because we're probably not going to get the chance to do that today, we will end up, that's not where we go into this thing. You would end up going into another biome, and each biome actually contains different and more deadly enemies. So it's actually 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 for a full set. So let's get ourselves this, and this. So now we actually have a full, oh, that's so cool. We could get ourselves a sword, but it's only 1 more damage, but we're definitely gonna get our hands on the pick. Of course, the wooden pick doesn't count. That one you can just throw into the garbage. I don't know what these all are for. Maybe they're just different hotkeys that eventually we'll run into. Oh, perfect. We actually got an upgraded sword. I didn't even plan on that. That is so handy. Okay, cool. Skills, perfect. Obtain 50 souls and unlock the run skill. Yeah, that's right. We're just gonna skip what he says actually, but they're actually showing us right here. 50 points for sprinting, which is just shift sprinting, 100 points for another, so on and so forth. Eventually you can get all the way up to a double jump at 600, which is a very fantastic skill. I do want to show you all. There's this one right here. There's different combos actually. This thrust actually is hitting up and attack at the same time. Very, very difficult to pull off. It's not as good. In all honesty, I wish that they would end up increasing, like making it a little less complicated to pull off these combos. The advantage of this attack is it actually pierces through enemies and can damage more than one enemy at a time. But the fact of the matter is that it's actually like very difficult to actually do in the middle of combat, and it's a lot easier to just hold the right click and kill whatever needs to be killed. So in general, that's usually what we end up doing. Anyways, instead, ooh, he's a skipping zombie. Oh my goodness. And also right here, this chest, this is one thing that I don't know if I like in this game, but it still adds a little bit of incentive for actually grinding up enemies. Is it's going to cost us 150 souls in order to open this chest. The only reason that I don't necessarily like it is if you end up going to doing some extreme caving. I'll go fight enemies while I'm talking about this. But if you end up going around fighting a bunch of enemies in underground caves and stuff like that, let's say you end up finding like a real cool chest or something like that, you can actually, you know, it'll kind of suck because it's like, say you don't have enough souls to open it. And then it's like, what are you gonna do? Mark it on your map? There is no map in this game. Maybe there is a little bit later as you would craft one or something. I don't know. That would be really, really cool if there was. Oh my goodness, this is actually gonna take a little bit longer than it should. Here's an ice biome, which I don't necessarily want to go into because the enemies are gonna be real strong for us. But at the same time, it's okay because it's just slimes. And I want to get as much experience as we can because we need it as fast as possible. Oh, is this a super slime or something? Oh, goodness gracious, that scared me. The chipped emerald is used for magic. That's one thing that I love about this game, and I really do mean it. Like, I love how this game gives you incentive to touch all aspects of it. Like, just for an example, because we're not really gonna run into it in today. That one actually exploded into fireballs. Ow, we still took damage. That sucks. And you can also scare chickens into a chicken pen, which will then produce eggs, etc., etc. But it actually does a very good way of incentivizing the player to experience all of the different types of aspects of the game. So, for example, food. There is a huge incentive to end up getting into cooking and trying to create new cooking recipes, get new plants and new edible things like that, because every piece of food that you eat for the first time will actually give you a permanent stat increase towards your health. It makes things a little bit tedious, I will say. Oh, I don't want to go into the desert. It makes things a little bit tedious in some regards, but is very good incentive. Like even right here, this slime part, it has the little asterisk star icon to it because it's our first time eating it. And you're going to notice our health went up, only by 5. Okay, maybe it's 5 and not 10, but either way. And then, of course, alchemy is used to end up getting potions, and then you're gonna want to go exploring into caves and getting yourself gems and stuff like that that you can end up using for magic. I really, really wish that we would have enough time to get into the magic system today, but in all honesty, it doesn't look like we're going to, because we're probably only gonna have enough time to get the stat increase right here, and then that's already gonna be it. So we can unlock the run ability, and now we can actually just sprint. I'll show you this rune right here. But the magic is very, very cool because it's straight up like if you've ever played like games like Oblivion and Skyrim and stuff like that, mostly like the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, the enchanting system in Oblivion, by the way, if we stand by our crystal, you can see so long as the doors are closed and there's no enemies nearby, we actually regenerate health very, very quickly. So that's always nice to end up building your house here rather than just out in the wilderness, especially because this is your permanent spawn point as far as I know. And also, just before I talk about the magic, when you end up dying, you will actually drop a death pile of the amount of souls that you had. It's like a percentage of your souls, and so long as you can survive, you can actually go over and grab the souls, and as far as I know, they don't despawn. Unless you end up getting killed along the way, then of course the first set of souls will completely despawn, and then your new set of souls and your new death pile will end up spawning. The magic, by the way, wait, runes? Okay, runes. Yeah, see, magic's right down there. But anyway, the magic system is fantastic because it actually has it where it's like you will have to use a ruby in order to put a fireball spell on it. Of course, an emerald is for a poison effect and stuff like that. And then as you end up getting further into that system, the magic system is like so complex. You can change every aspect of a spell. You can change how powerful it is, how fast it shoots, how big it is, how much lifesteal it has on it. And then further than that, you can choose how it's going to shoot at your character, whether it's going to be spread fire or not, whether it's going to bounce on the ground or swivel through the air and stuff like that, shoot in all 4 directions. It's an extremely in-depth spell system. Later on, you can actually get spells that will have you transform into enemies, which you can power up and then turn into even more powerful enemies, gaining all of their abilities. It has a little bit of a Pokemon aspect to it, where you end up capturing different enemies, and then as they end up fighting for you, they will level up and in turn eventually evolve. The game even says they will evolve, which is fantastic. And right now, they're actually trying to show us, can we actually craft it? I don't know if we can. No, we gotta do it on this thing. That's right. The runic anvil. So the way that this puppy works, this is pretty neat as well, is not on all of your equipment, but most of it. I don't know how you tell if a piece of equipment actually has a socket in it, but it's pretty much socketing from any game. So you can see we put our sword right here. And now if we end up putting this rune level 1, the attack aspect is going to give us cutting damage bonus, and if we would put it into our armor, it would give us cutting resistance, but it ends up taking 5 of our total XP gets taken off so long as it's sealed in. You can, of course, always just extract it, pull the gem out, swap it over to other gear. A very, very cool system, the fact that it actually has all of this stuff. The planting system, too, is actually very much like, I guess I would say kind of Harvest Moon-ish. We'll actually do this last quest right here before we call it for today, because I don't want the video video to be too long, everybody. So we have to craft a hoe and then sow our seeds into the ground. Of course, he's explaining how you can end up getting permanent increases to HP and your SP, which is your stamina and your magic, by eating like certain foods for the first time, etc., etc. So you're gonna want to try and get as many different recipes as you can for all of the food that you can, right? Whoops. There it is. We could get ourselves a boomerang right off the hop too. But instead we're just gonna get ourselves the hoe right here. And what it is the same as any other video game, of course, any Terraria game. You're gonna get rid of the grass on the ground. And then actually the thing that I most love about this, because it just makes me feel very nostalgic, is if we swap to our seeds, you throw them and they actually like plant on the ground based on where they throw. That's like so cool, man. Seriously, I'm so into that. And you can see the tiny little plant. Hopefully you can see it. There's a tiny little pixel right there showing where it ended up planting. Oh my goodness, I gotta organize my inventory. Oh wait, we can just organize it like that. Super duper easy. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna be it, everybody, because otherwise I could just keep on going and going and going. If you really, and I mean really, want to see me actually start a Let's Play series of this game, of course, I will end up doing my best to actually do that, and maybe I'll do one anyway, even though nobody really asked me to. But of course, I'm extremely busy right now with things in the background and all the other series that I got going for me right now that I don't know if I can right now. But either way, thank you so much for watching on this first look video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it helpful. Links will be in the description for everything. And this game, I don't think this game is released yet. I think it pretty much just got green lighted, which is fantastic that they actually did, because I'm really looking forward to seeing where this game ends up developing. You can actually, I'll put in the description as well, the roadmap of what they're actually going to end up adding to the game eventually. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to Hadouken the like button, share, favorite, and subscribe to join Team Pixel. Sign on, stay epic, everybody.